So we're off. 5.3 is the conclusion of our chapter. There's no more reading here for a few days. Game plan for the week. Today we're in 4.3. Tomorrow there's a homework due and we take a quiz called 5.3b. Then the practice test is due, which is on our calendar week would be a Wednesday because today is Monday. We would take a single test for this chapter on Thursday, and then your next reading will happen for Friday into 6.1 and 2. If you go missing during the week and miss school, I might as well tell you the 6.1 and 2 quiz Friday's 13. So it doesn't start off with a little baby 3. Hope you didn't get spoiled by this chapter. But 6.1 and 2 is going to have a 13er. More on that to come another day, I suppose. But 5.3, 1, we're going to say toward the left. 2 is, I would take it if you just say they touch the step line. The book said they lie on either side of the colored stair step line. But if you're just saying it touches the step line, I'm fine with that. 3 is valence electrons. 4, chemical properties works. Electron configurations works. Either way. 5 is at the bottom. And then I'll go small timeout. Question about the first 5?
What's
3 was valence electron. I'll explain some of that once our papers are back. Thing there. 6 and 7, you got a variety of things. I wrote down it's the first halogen discovered, used in bleach, disinfects sewage and waters and pools. Can burn your eyes, used in plastic PVC piping, used in refrigeration, a thing called chlorofluorocarbons. World War I, it was a poison gas. I'm sure there were other things, but I wasn't going to rewrite the entire box. Question on those. Then 8 was from the 1860s. 9 is Meyer versus Mendeleev. Mendeleev was better because he left gaps to predict new elements. Atomic number is next. Periodic law is next. The rows question, there's 7 of them. They're called periods and they do the energy level. Columns question, there's 18. They're called groups and they have similar chemical properties. And then I'll call another timeout. Anything up through there? Okay, the 5 groups are alkali metals, A-L-K-A-L-I metals. If they said alkaline metals and threw the N at the end of that, I'd go half. Second group where we do want to use alkaline, A-L-K-A-L-I-N-E, those are alkaline earth metals. If they got the alkali switched in there, I'd go half again. Chalcogens, which is C-H-A-L-C-O-G-E-N-S is in here. Halogens is in here. Noble gases, N-O-B-L-E gases is in here. And that's the main 5, and then we'll do some bonus points in a second. Question about main list of 5. Okay, bonus point on alkali metals, they'd have to do Roman numeral 1A and do the regular number 1. That would get them a point. Alkaline earth metals do Roman numeral 2A, and that's the regular number 2. Chalcogens is Roman numeral 6A, that's a VI. That's number 16. Halogens is Roman numeral 7A, which is VII, also standard number 17. Noble gases is Roman numeral 8A, which is 18, and Roman numeral 8 is a VII. Question about the bonus, you have to have both numbers to get bonus. There's no like half point bonus.
Okay, so if they did like all of the, like one part, just none?
They got none. No. Had to have a bonus. Each one is 1. So we can get 5 bonus, but you have to have both the Roman numeral and the regular number to get the bonus.
So what was halogen and noble gases? Was that
Halogen
7A?
was 7, Roman numeral 7A and 17. Noble gases is Roman numeral 8A, and that's an 18.
Is it okay if they didn't put the A?
I'm going to say no without the A's also. I'm going to big meanie on the extra credit because there's A's and there's B's of everything in the Roman numeral world. Something about those. 26 is lanthanide versus actinide for the two main points, LANTHANIDE and ACTINIDE. Bonus point there, lanthanide, that's called rare earth elements. 28's representative, 29's transition, 38's 2 and 3. 30, last question is 4 through 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Question about scoring that thing at all?
What was 5?
5 was at the bottom. Questions there? Okay, so next quiz is probably going to match practice test vocab. Does practice test vocab go to 31?
Oh, wait, this isn't actually. Are we still doing rare earth elements?
Rare earth
shoot,
elements
yeah.
with lanthanide is a bonus point, yeah. Practice tests are out in your hands. Is the 31 vocabulary on it?
I would assume.
Does it go to 31
Um,
or 30?
It goes to
30.
it is
30.
30.
Okay, and then 31's an old question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the quiz you're prepping for is probably the first 30, but let me do a breakdown and just make sure I'm giving you right advice. I can go side by side. Everything today from 8 and down does stay the same. The stuff from the box is gone. I sort of combine number 1 with number 5 and ask you if we wanted to find the elements that are the most metallic, where would that be?
Bottom left.
Bottom left. So peek at your periodic table. Who would be the superstar champion most metally of the metals based on that information? FR, which I think is francium. What were some characteristics of metals that we had back a few chapters ago?
They luster, can conduct electricity, they're dense, they're shiny, but that's what luster is.
Yep, bunch of that stuff. So the farther left you go, the more you would expect to find that. The farther down you would go, the more you would expect to find those properties. Are there exceptions? Certainly, but more left you go and more low you go, that's where the characteristics of the metals become more and more of a thing. So that's sort of a new question. Metalloids, number 2 is going to be there, but I'm going to be pickier. I'd say they touch the stair-step line, but not who?
Aluminum.
Not aluminum, because aluminum is not a metalloid. Aluminum is a
Metal.
metal. So name me a metalloid. Silicon, because it's 14, touching that line. Germanium, which is 32, touching the line. It's boron, etc. and so forth. Boron is 5, touching the line. Everybody that touches the line is a metalloid, but aluminum is not. Aluminum is a metal. So question 2 is there for that. Question 3 stays the same, and we've had that discussion another day. The Roman numerals in all the A groups tells you the valence electrons. That's not news.
Wait, what did you say?
Number 3 just stays the same. Valence electrons comes from the Roman numerals of the A's. With one exception. Who was the exception to that?
Aluminum?
No?
No,
Wait,
hydrogen.
No?
Helium.
Helium. Helium is in column 8, but it doesn't have 8. Helium has 2 because it's at a lower energy level where you can only fit 2. All the other noble gases have 8, but helium has 2. Just it's limited by being number 2. It can't do 8. 4 stays the same. I think I'd prefer electron configurations, but if you want to do chemical properties, I couldn't mark it wrong because it isn't wrong. But I'm not going to make you do both of those. You could go with electron configurations. So here's what I mean by that. So like beryllium is in column 2. It's at the top of column 2. So beryllium, if we wrote out all of that SPDF, stop, please stop, fudge, that flow chart, we do that business. If beryllium ends with S, let's say it ends with an S2, then magnesium has to end with S2 because it's in the same column. Now, one of them might be a 1S, and one of them might be a 2S, and the other one might be a 3S, but they're going to have to end with the same stuff. Fluorine is number 9. So fluorine, or let me go lower. Let me go I for iodine is number 53. So find number 53, I for iodine. I for iodine at 53 is going to end with a P5. So number 85, astatine, would have to end with P5. It's not the same P5, it's at a different energy level, but they're going to have the same similar electron configurations. They're going to end with the same kind of patterns there.
Where do you see the P5 on the?
I don't see that, I know that.
Oh.
So, but what I'm saying is, if I spotted you, I wouldn't expect you to know that carbon ends with P2. But if I tell you carbon ends with a P2, I would expect you to tell me that silicon ends with a P2, because they're in the same column. That's the game the homework's going to play. They'll spot you one and ask you like what the other one would end with, or they make you match them or something. If they're in the same columns, they should have the same kind of endings. And side note, oh no, this is a question. Which element in a group is the most likely to be, quote, out of step? So if we went down a group, let's see, I'm looking at column number 14, out of carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. The most likely one to be a misfit and be out of step on some sort of a property is,
What?
no. Anybody with a thought, a guess? If it's not lead?
The GE.
No.
Okay.
Carbon. It's always going to be, the most likely one to misfit is going to be the
First one.
top one, the first one. Like of the noble gases, who's the misfit of the noble gases? We already know. Helium, the first one. As you go down a list, they're going to become more and more and more like a family, but the top one, the first one, might be a little bit different. So the most likely in a group to be out of step is the first one. Then here's another question that wasn't on the quiz, that's on the practice test, and therefore is on the 5.3b. In a group, there's usually a blank of the physical and chemical properties. Anybody know what goes into that blank?
It's like a gradual change.
Gradual change is correct. In a group, there's going to usually be a blank, which you're filling in gradual change of physical and chemical properties. So, for example, if I go to column 7 and start making stuff up, this isn't real math, this is just me making things up. If I told you in column 7 that Mn boils at 100, and I tell you that Re boils at 140, it's a fair guess that Tc probably boils about 120. Is that going to be perfect every time? No, but it's a pretty decent guess. If I came along and told you that carbon, or not carbon, yeah, I'll go carbon. Carbon's over in number 14. If I say like carbon freezes at 10, and I tell you that germanium freezes at 20, it's probably reasonable that silicon freezes at 15 because that's right between 10 and 20. And if I told you carbon freezes at 10 and silicon freezes at 20 and germanium freezes at 30, it's a fair guess that SN freezes at 40. Like the homework's going to ask you to play some games like that, I do believe. So new questions. Most metallic was lower left. Metalloids was the same question, but I got pickier. The valence electrons being the same is the same question. Electron configurations answer is the same question. Most likely to be out of step is the first one. That's a new question. There's a gradual change as you move down a group. That's a new question. And that's the new questions for 5.3b and or the new questions on the practice test, however you want to look at that. Question about that.
Oh, can you spell those two series? Because I keep.
Lanthanide and Actinide. Homeworky stuff finally comes due, and it's decently big now because it's putting together a little bit from one day, a little bit more from another day, and a big group from today. So one, we're basically doing everything from A to M. It's like all the vocab answers. Two, we're doing everything from A to E. That's like more vocab answers. Then here's the homework if you want to join me for a little preview. 3 and 4, they'll ask you if something is a metal, a non-metal, or a metalloid. How would you know if it's a metal?
It's on the left.
If it's on the left side of the line. You would know it's a metalloid if it,
On the right.
metalloid,
Oh, on
that's
it.
on the
touches the line, and a non-metal if it's
On the right.
on the right. 5 and 6, they'll ask you to do valence electrons. How will you do this tool to know valence electrons? Look at the period and which part? Which number? Roman numeral number. So you look at the Roman numeral number to do 5 and 6, and that'll do that. 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't care about doing 8 or 10. 7 and 9, they want you to match up which of these S2, P6, D10, which of those things go together as partners. They just want you to match them. The ones with the same endings have to be in the
Same group.
same group, same column. So use the columns to, the ones with similar endings would be in the same columns. They're going to go together. 11 and 12, they want you to know which one is more metallic. So more metallic is either going to be because it's lower or because it's
On the left.
lefter, which isn't the word, but could be. So either lower or lefter. Anybody that's lower or lefter is going to win that contest. Here's a question that we didn't do, but to do 13, 14. As you go down the columns, things are getting bigger or smaller. So you would expect the size of it to also get bigger. It's going to have more levels. It's just going to be bigger. So 13, 14, they ask you who's bigger. Anybody lower on the table is going to be bigger. So most of this homework, although there's a lot of stuff, like 1 is A to M, 2 is A to E, 3 through 14, they're all like ABCDs. It's a lot of individual answers you're going to write, but there's not a lot of individual thought. It's like who's lefter, who's lower, who's in the same column, what's the Roman numeral. Each individual choice should be a quick hit, but if you add it up, it might take you a little while to get that all done. What might be a little time consuming is the general problems 15 and 16, where they're going to flash you back to some old things. There's a little bit of dimensional analysis going on. There's a little bit of stuff from this chapter. Some of the 15, 16 is super easy, lefter, lower, that kind of contest. But some of the 15, 16 is going to be dimensional analysis and whatnot. And then we are also doing the chapter quiz 5. The chapter quiz 5 is basically going to be a run back of what you did from 3 to 14. There's nothing tricky in the 1 to 5 chapter quiz. It's again just back to who's on the left, who's on the right, who touches the line, who's lower, who's more to the left, who has a similar ending with like S1 versus S1 that would buddy up and have the same chemical properties. But quiz 5.3b, 30 points. Homework, big pile of stuff. Practice test is 2 days away then, test is 3 days away, and then we start reading again at the end of the week.
This homework is due tomorrow.
That's the name of the game. So that homework is due tomorrow, correct. So fairly big quiz, but without a read. Homework tomorrow. That's a wrap. Question about what's up? Let's put that on down.